Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clayton Zoka. Welcome to another My Thoughts On. Today, I'm going to be doing a request My Thoughts On. And today, this request comes from a very good friend of mine and great YouTuber, DJ Freeeeery, or Freeeeery, or whatever. Today, he has requested me to do, well, originally he said he wanted me to do Dougal, which is this animated film that is actually a US dub based on the beloved classic series by Serge Danot. Hopefully I've pronounced the person's name correctly, but okay. Now, I'm happy with what you guys suggested to me. Although some of you people haven't clearly checked my list, but most of the stuff I see on there is good. Just because you say what's on... Look, I'm happy with what you've got there. But it doesn't mean I'm going to do every single film out there. I will get through all the requests, so it will take time for me to do so just be patient. So, there will be films from you guys, whatever the film is. I don't care what it is. I will have to look at it, do a bit of research, look at the trailer, and think, I don't know, I might give this a watch, or now just pass. Like Dougal. Now, I haven't seen Dougal. I've seen reviews for it. Trust me. I'm sorry, DJ Freeeeery. I don't want to go through the same suffering like most people have. I've heard the film is really, really bad. And from the reviews I've saw, yep, we can all thank Harvey Weinstein for that. So here are the rules for a UK/US dub. Right. 1. It has to be from the UK. If there's no UK dub, I will have to probably watch either the US dub or its original dub if there's subtitles. And also, I will not talk about every bad film out there. There will be ones that I am interested in talking about. So I won't be talking about Dougal. I'm trying to think what else. The 50 Shades movie franchise. I will never talk about them. The remake of Flatliners. There's a lot of bad films I don't really want to talk about. There's even good films I don't want to talk about either because there's not much to say, you know? So yeah. Sorry, DJ, I'm afraid I have to talk about the UK dub, or is it the French dub? I mean, the version I watched today was English, but the subtitles and the text was a different language, so yeah. Sorry about that, but I mean, I had the film on my phone for a while, and I do kind of want to rewatch it again because I do remember watching the film when I was quite young. This came out, I believe, in 2005, I think. And the Magic Roundabout, I think, originally was a French animated film, but it got dubbed into the UK and the US. I never saw it when it came out, per se. I remember getting it on DVD. And do you guys remember, like, you know when you go on a long journey when you're a kid? I don't know if this applies to everyone, but you'll know what I mean when I mention it. You know them DVD players that you would get in the car? So you would be in the back, and then Mum or Dad will set up the DVD player on the head restraint in the back row. So you got the monitor and the DVD area where you put your DVD in. And you sit down, seatbelts on the journey, watching the film in the back. Who remembers that? I do. I remember that a lot. And this was like mid-2000s when these things were kind of, well, not exactly big, but they were quite handy. instead of watching the film at home, you could watch it on a DVD player while on the go. How cool's that? And I remember watching the Magic Roundabout at during that time. I mean, yeah, nowadays you could just buy it off iTunes or Google Play, and you can just play it anywhere as long as you download it. But back then, with stuff like that, it was, to be fair, impressive. Years later, I actually haven't watched the film fully until I was like 5 or 6. I don't have too many childhood fond memories of the film. I remember liking it fine, but not much. Also, I've heard this is considered more tolerable than Dougal, and judging from what I've watched, yeah, but does it mean it's good? Well, let's take a look. And by the way, I will not be comparing this to the original TV series because I never watched it, although I am now interested in watching it. I might make a few comparisons to Dougal, but not much. So, in this village, we got heroes and a magic roundabout. Heroes, we've got Dougal the dog, voiced by Take That star Robbie Williams. We've got Dylan, voiced by a very unrecognisable Bill Nighy. You've got Zebedee, voiced by Sir Ian McKellen. You've got Florence, who is Dougal's owner, who's voiced by Kylie Minogue. You've got Ermintrude, the singing cow, voiced by Jonah Lummy. And a snail named Brian, voiced by Jim Broadbent. They're all good friends. However, after Dougal's sweet obsession causes them trouble, it accidentally breaks the roundabout and releases this Zebedee evil type named Zebad, voiced by Doctor Who actor Tom Baker. He now wants to, well, not exactly take over the world, but freeze the world. So apparently he's Mr. Freeze. Okay, and he gets some help from a dim-witted and naive soldier named Sam, voiced by Rainn Winstone. Now our heroes will have to find 3 diamonds to save their world, since Florence and the other children and these other characters are trapped inside a frozen roundabout, the magic roundabout. And along the way, they would get assistance from a train voiced by Lee Evans. They have to go to like these other areas to get the diamonds, the 3 diamonds, before Zebad does. This sounds like Looney Tunes back in action a little bit, except in that film they had to find a blue monkey, and this one is 3 diamonds. Let me ask you something. Does reference humour, adventure, especially Indiana Jones style adventure, and chases, does this qualify as Magic Roundabout material? I've never seen the show, and I can tell you for a fact that this doesn't feel like the show. This film is kind of all over the place in terms of plot. I mean, it's simple and very predictable. Like, you know what's going to happen. There's even a twist in the film that I saw coming. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen this film since I was 5 or 6, but I do remember it briefly. Whatever twists they have and whatever chemistry these characters have is something that's random, out of nowhere, and it's done for the sake of filling up the screen time with filler. And luckily, unlike Dougal, there isn't too much filler in the film that makes it dreadful or unbearable. However, this film can be very distracting with the voices, and I will get to that in a minute. The humour, while at times it's more laid back and more fast and at times a bit modern, but nothing. I mean, I didn't laugh at it per se. I was like, I didn't mind it too much, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. Even like the dangers these characters get in is rather anticlimactic or very predictable. They go through lava. They go on this like train chase as well. They They had to rescue Dougal at one point, and there are moments in the film where it just drags on. And spoilers, I guess. I mean, come on, it's the fucking Magic Roundabout. This is not fucking. This is not like Toy Story or frickin' Isle of Dogs or anything. This is not groundbreaking work. This is a frickin' modern adaptation of a beloved children's classic. They have to save Dougal from Zebad and Sam. And while they're trying to save Dougal, and while Sam is trying to talk to Dougal about where they have to find the first diamond, Zebad is an idiot. He doesn't turn around to assume that Ermentrude and the rest are rescuing him. He just assumes that Dougal is actually getting, tortured by Sam. I mean, these characters are actually kind of idiots. I mean, I know this is an animated film for children, but it really doesn't help that these characters are kind of brain dead and stupid compared to everyone else, because everyone else in the film doesn't really offer much in terms of story structure or development. Apart from Brian and Ermentrude's relationship, which comes out of nowhere and it's not very well explored, and I'm sure it's better explored in the show than it is here. And also with the UK dub, I'll give the film credit that at times, at least the actors doing the UK dub, at least their voices does sink in with their characters well. At least there is less reference humour than Dougal, which was like 98 to 99% reference humour. There is a little bit here and there, but not much and not very noticeable. I'll also say that there is less song numbers in this film than there is Dougal. Yes, there's some very familiar ones like the Kinks, You Really Got Me, and then there's the Sugar, Oh Honey Honey song, and then there's Oh It's Magic. I can kind of tolerate the songs in this film than Dougal, because at least they do kind of fit with the theme, especially with the last song at the end. I think it's made for the film, and I could be wrong. So yeah, you can tell at the moment, I don't have much of an issue with the story. The problem is that it doesn't feel like the Magic Roundabout. It's too cartoony, it's too fast, and even with the animation, which I'll get to in a minute, makes it feel stiff and bland. The storytelling's not particularly good. It's just a very generic adventure film looking for these 3 items to save the world. It's something that we have seen so many times, and nothing is new or refreshing in this film. The humour at times can be a bit chuckle-worthy, but for the most part it's just tolerable but not funny. And even when it gets emotional, it is kind of well done, but these characters, there's one character who we assume dies but comes back. If a character's going to die, they have to die. If you're just going to revive them later without no twist or explanation, then you have no point. I hate when kids' films, especially animated films, just let characters die but then they come back somehow. At least How to Train Your Dragon 2 had the balls to kill off a character. I won't say who, but just a character. Man, talk about a messy plot. This is something that we have seen millions of times. This film doesn't do anything new with its plot. It just copies and just goes through the same tropes that we know from adventure films. The humour, like I said, not awful. It's more tolerable than it is funny. But that doesn't mean that it gets a pass for its very unfocused and unoriginally bland, predictable plot. And again, do I need to say this again? This is very out of place and not at all like the Magic Roundabout. Seriously, what is the point of remaking something that's considered perfect into something moderate and mediocre? Well, I don't know, but they found a way, and it didn't work out well. Animation. You can tell this is mid-2000s animation. I wouldn't say it's bad. In fact, I'd probably say it's actually halfway passable. The colours is quite bright, and I think it is an incredibly beautifully bright and colourful film, and I think it does succeed. The characters, while most of them don't exactly look like their original counterparts, they do have a nice updated design, especially in 3D. You know, Dylan looks pretty good, Dougal looks alright, Zebad actually looks quite cool with his design, even if it looks a bit weird. Most of the character designs look good. Even some of them can look actually great. The ones that do kind of get a bit of a creep factor is the children and Florence's design. With like little small eyes, and I don't know, their designs look a bit creepy, to be fair. The textures, while it does look like a student project, it does look kind of nice and nicely textured at times. Especially the scenes where they go to find the 3 diamonds, going through molten lava, they're going through a train chase, the backgrounds, along with this icy setting. It does look good. It does look like there is effort into it, but it's just the rendering is not as strong as something like DreamWorks or Disney, and heck, even Chicken Little's animation was slightly better than this. I will also say again, the movements from these characters, and I get that this is low budget, but their movements are stiff. The way Dougal moves, the way he jumps is it's very stiff and very odd the way he moves it, and then all the other characters move fine. Like, you know, Dylan moves a bit slow and chill, Brian moves even slower because he's a snail, Ermintrude moves all over the place, and even the train has some very wonky cartoony animation. The effects at times can look not entirely impressive, but pleasing to watch. The chase scenes and even a few battles look alright at best. Yeah, that's all I can say really. I know that's not a lot to say about the animation, but what else can I say? At best, it's good. At worst, it's, I wouldn't say terrible, but just lacking in mostly creativity and just rendering. You know, the character designs look good for the most part. It is a very colourful and bright film to look at. It's not dreadful or awful looking or anything like that. It's just that comparing this to like what came out in the mid-2000s, this is kind of easily one of the weaker looking animated films of that decade. Despite being good, it's just not enough to bring the Roundabout its full potential. And when I say Roundabout, I mean the film. Characters and acting. Maybe with the exception of the train, all the characters I didn't care about. They didn't do a thing for me. Their personalities are weak. Even Ermintrude and Brian's chemistry is very one-dimensional and rushed. We get that they're both in love, but it's not very well explored or even developed as well. They just put it in there just for the sake of character development, but it doesn't work. Dougal is just a very annoying leader who thinks he can do this and that, and he tries to find his way to solve a problem, even if he has a sweet addiction, and which kind of makes him a bit unlikable. He's also kind of the one who started this whole thing, and if it wasn't for him, none of this would have happened. He's easily annoying and just, he wouldn't shut up. Dylan is the laid-back, cool, hippie kind of character. I actually did, well, thanks to Bill Nye's performance, I did found him actually kind of the best out of the gang, although that's not saying much since he is just kind of a boring, lazy rabbit. Brian is more like the straight man, but at the same time does have a soft spot and a crush on Ermintrude, but even he's just takes stuff too seriously. And that scene, the scene I remember from this film the most, which is weirdly one that I never found funny, but for some reason I saw, is when he charges at these skeletons, and when he says charge, he's going slow. Get it? He's a snail because it's not funny. Ermintrude never did a thing for me. She seems like the very pompous, posh singer, and she only cares about her beauty and her looks, and she's never likable either. Zebedee is not in the film for long. He seems to be the character who knows how to find these diamonds. He's absent throughout the entire film. He's like Gandalf, and I'm not just saying that because of Ian McKellen. I'm saying that because they do something a bit similar with Gandalf, sort of. Zebad is the villain, and at times he can be quite amusing, but he is a very dumb, silly, generic, and pretty unfunny villain. Sam is kind of the henchman to Zebad, although he is originally from the Roundabout, but he's more dim-witted, naive, and he doesn't have a clue what his role is. He, like I said, he never did a thing for me. He was just kind of there just to help Zebad. Florence is just kind of a plot tool for Dougal to get back to the Roundabout to save her, and she's bland, she's boring. The train is quite possibly, maybe Dylan I can tolerate. The train I actually thought was more entertaining than all the characters. Yeah, he talks, but none of the other characters can understand what he's saying. He's like Stewie. Although it does make it a bit weird since he doesn't have a mouth and Lee Evans is just talking like Lee Evans. But he can give me a few chuckles here and there, and he did kind of make me smile. He was my favourite character when I saw the film when I was young, and he still is. Even with some very generic and forgettable, unfunny characters, the voice acting is actually better than all of this. Well, for the most part. Robbie Williams does a good job as Dougal, although his voice is a bit out of place and distracting. It's just Robbie Williams voicing, well, Robbie Williams. He's good in the role, and I like his vocal performance, but if he tried on a different voice, maybe, but he just sounds like himself. Ian McKellen, he's good as always, just like the toad in Over the Hedge? Wrong DreamWorks film, Flushed Away. And coincidentally, hang on, Bill Nighy and Ian McKellen's first animated film together since this film, and then Flushed Away the year after. Wow. Speaking of Bill Nighy, I'm quite impressed with his performance. I mean, yeah, he does sound like a very laid-back, cool, lazy, very hippie style man, rabbit, who's Dylan. His performance is very unrecognisable. Like, if you told me that was Bill Nighy, I wouldn't believe you. And that's coming from a guy who voiced Grandad Santa in Arthur Christmas, Whitey in Flushed Away, and Rattlesnake Jake in Rango. He's actually a fucking great voice actor, and a great actor too, of course. I thought his performance in the film was probably my favourite. Who else? Lee Evans as the train. He just sounds like Lee Evans just being himself, but he is a bit funny in his delivery, and I did enjoy him, at least. Tom Baker sounds like he's just having fun as Zebad. His performance is not as good as he was as Boomer in, funnily enough, the UK dub of Wonder Park, but he is quite funny, and same with Ray Winstone. They're both actually quite enjoyable. Jonah Lumley from Absolutely Fabulous just sounds like herself, but again, she is quite pleasant in her voice performance. Kylie Minogue sounds a bit out of place at times, but she's alright. Jim Broadbent is, well, Jim Broadbent. He's always charming in whatever film he's in, for the most part. The characters really don't offer anything of value. They're just kind of generic one-dimensional tropes, but thanks to some pretty strong voice acting, they do, well, not exactly stand out, but they make the characters at least enjoyable-ish. Sort of. Side note, the score of the film by, I forgot who the composer is, I think he can. Oh God, what was his name? Because the score actually, because it actually sounds familiar. It's by Mark Thomas. His score in the film is quite nice and beautiful. Sure, it's a bit generic, but it is nice to listen to. And like I said, the songs, while there isn't that many recognisable themes and songs, they're not too bad. They can be a bit distracting and a bit out of place, but most of them do fit. Okay, I'll admit, I haven't seen Dougal. I've seen bits of it. I've seen reviews of it. Fucking hell, I will never watch it. This at least was tolerable. Does it mean it's a good film? Absolutely not. Is it terrible? Not really. I would probably say it's more watchable than good or bad. The UK dub of the Magic Roundabout is just another film based on a TV series that's just modernised. Sure, it's not one of the worst that I've seen, anyways, but it's just something. It's just another film that we've seen before. The plot's generic. It's not all that funny. It's predictable. It's mostly just got filler just to fill up the time. The animation, while good, does look a bit lackluster and cheap and stiff. The characters are annoying, not particularly memorable, and unfunny. The voice acting is very good, along with a nice score and a few fitting songs, and that's about it. If you like the Magic Roundabout, I would probably say watch this or maybe the French dub over Dougal, but I mean, even no matter what dub you watch, three of them are just equally as just harmless, boring, pandering, unfunny kids film. I will admit this did give me a bit of nostalgia, but not much. It's not like Flushed Away or Chicken Run where I do remember a good chunk of it and I was like, oh, nostalgia. This one's like, just a little. So I don't hate this film, I really don't. I just found it just kind of underwhelming. It may not be good, it may not be bad, it's just slightly passable, but also just forgettably bland. Rating. I'll probably have to give it a 4.5 out of 10. Like I said, I really do not hate the film, but I don't exactly like it. It's meh. Kids can watch it fine. I mean, it's no problem. It's not harmful or anything. I mean, even if one of the characters who we assume died, even though he doesn't, there are a few like darkish themes, but not much. It's very harmless. Oh, and if you're wondering what rating I would give Dougal if I did see it, well, I'd probably give it a 1. But with this one, it's a 4.5. So yeah, that wasn't as bad as Dougal, but it's not exactly great. And trust me, if I was watching Dougal, it would probably be on the same levels of Queen's Corgi, Emoji Movie, Lewis and the Aliens in terms of really shit animated films. But I'm glad I'm not stepping into Dougal. Oh no. I'm staying away from that bad banana, or bad sweet, or hairy dog, whatever. So yeah, Dougal. Dougal? Magic Roundabout. God. Anyways, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I will probably do another My Thoughts on Request. Don't know what I will do, but it will be one of the most requested, well, when I say most requested, I mean one of the requests that I got from you guys. If you have any more if you have any more requests for me to do, just go to the video, My Thoughts on Requests. Just type it in, just type in whatever you want. If you've already put a comment on there with some ideas, please edit the comment and add some more, please. Don't spam the comment section, no. Also, thank you, DJ, for your request, even though I didn't technically do what you asked me. Do check out his channel, though, if you love adverts, PIFs, idents. He's a really great friend. He has a great Discord server, and his channel is just... there's a shit ton of stuff on there that you might love, so do check him out. Anyways, that's me done for today. What do you think of the UK dub of the Magic Roundabout? Or what do you think of the show in general? Or what do you think of Dougal? Or whatever? It's a good, bad, decent. Do you want to see it? Let me know below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. And until next time, bye for now.